As part of activities lined up to pay final respects to renowned educationist par excellence, the late Dr. Abiodun Laja, on Monday, the 1st of July 2019, a wake service was held at the Lekki British School in Lagos, and a host of family members, friends, and well-wishers gathered for the service. Among dignitaries present at the service were billionaire philanthropist par excellence, Sir Dr. Kessington Adebukola Adebutu, Sir Oluokewo and wife, Lady Adejoke Okewo, Chief Mrs. Kemi Nelson, Chief Mrs. Abba Folawiyo, among many other high-profile guests. The program started with the opening prayer said by Pastor Joe Lakpe Abolari, after which hymnal renditions followed. The first Bible reading, taken from the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 11, was read by Mrs. Funke Idehe, UK-based daughter-in-law of the deceased, while the second Bible reading was taken from the book of Psalms chapter 90 verse 1 to 17 by Pastor Kola Oyenei.
A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. Here ends the reading.
This was followed by a solo rendition delivered by the Holy City Choir in honor of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja. The reading of the biography of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja, which followed next, was done by her son, Mr. Christian Idehe, after which Blessing Agu presented an emotional solo tribute in her honor.
Jesus.
After that, Demola Lota and the Voices Choir paid tributes in songs in honor of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja.
I did all that, and may I say, oh, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, where there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall and did it my.
There was another Bible reading session handled by Mr. Olulanke Omotesho and Olori Abiodun Ojutalayo, after which the tribute session proper followed. It was an emotional moment as family members, friends and associates of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja went back in time, describing the deceased in glowing terms. The tribute session started with Mr. Emmanuel Goldie Dehe, younger brother to the late Dr. Abiodun Laja's husband, Mr. Anthony Dehe. Mr. Emmanuel Dehe said he met the late Dr. Abiodun Laja in the 60s while he was still in high school in Ibadan, and said she was one of the purest-minded people. Mr. Emmanuel Dehe added that her drive for success and courage to set and achieve new goals stood her out among her peers. He also commended her great dress sense. In the tribute of Princess Vicky Hastrap, a close younger friend of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja, she emphasized that Dr. Abiodun Laja lived a wonderful life.
Auntie Abiodun touched life, particularly the children of the downtrodden. She touched their lives. And I tell you, she put a lot of trouble on my head most times. She has her own vision, I have mine. But she will not let me rest. She will put her own vision on my head. Vicky, I want more baby. They don't have anything. And I have offered to train them to university level, so you are going to join me. This is your vision. I have mine. That's Auntie Abiodun for you. She's always picking somebody else's child to train. In the midst of her own problem, she never mind her problem. She never. This woman was always minding other people's problems.
Pastor Kola Oyeneyi described late Dr. Abiodun Laja as a true mother and talked about how she once sold her cooking gas out of generosity to pay for his school fees. Pastor Kola Oyeneyi, filled with emotions, talked about how Dr. Abiodun Laja sent him to school, including helping him travel abroad to get more education.
The special and most important one that carried me through the critical and without a doubt the most important phase of my life. Yes, you didn't carry me for 9 months, but for the last 20 years you nurtured me from a timid and incredibly shy teenage boy to the man that I am today. When Uncle Timmy Akinwumi opened that bus on that day when I got on the bus, you took me in as your foster son. Things were so tough for you that the only way you could afford to pay my first school fees in 1999 was to put up your cooking gas cylinders at home for sale.
In the tribute of Barrister Shadi Balogun, she describes the late Dr. Abiodun Laja as a diligent worshipper of Christ who gave her all to the service of God and humanity. A member of the board of the Lekki British School, Mrs. Adetula, talked about how the late Dr. Abiodun Laja emphasized on keeping her legacy alive during their last board meeting and eulogized her in glowing terms. Another member of the board, Mr. Dola Bangboye, described the late Dr. Abiodun Laja as a fierce woman in a good way because she doesn't condone failure. The Old Girls of St. Louis College Ibadan, led by the president of the Old Students Association, Ambassador Marcus Bello, also delivered an emotional tribute titled An Icon in Our Midst, after which they sang the hymn, Only Remembered, in honor of one of their own, the late Dr. Abiodun Laja. In the short exhortation delivered by Pastor Bene Wuzie, he talked about the necessity of achieving goals in life and taking up bigger challenges. Pastor Bene Wuzie described the late Dr. Abiodun Laja as a woman with great dreams and vision, and shared a story of how Dr. Abiodun Laja impacted his life through a 100% scholarship gift to his children at the Lekki British School. Pastor Bene Wuzie added that Dr. Abiodun Laja's high positive attitude stood her out among her peers. He enjoyed all not to mourn, but celebrate a life well spent.
In trying times, in challenging times, you will see mommy lay flat on the floor and worship God and sing this song. I say, Lord, remember you are the never drying fountain. And the Lord God Almighty never disappointed her once. This evening, for the short time, we are here to celebrate and not to mourn. We are here to celebrate a great woman. We are here to celebrate a woman of distinction. We are here to celebrate a great daughter of Zion. We are here to celebrate a great lover and worshiper of God. Laja in anger, Laja in rebuke, but Laja in compassion, in care, in love, in welcoming you back. As a pastor for nearly 20 years, when she complained, I would say, Mommy, I know you love your friends. God will bring them back. 2 months down the line, you will see them at fellowship again. They will be eating together and this. So I learned early not to talk about her relationships at all. I will simply pray for her. That woman had a very great heart.
There was a quick prayer session conducted by Pastor Olutobi Adegbumire for the family and friends of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja. In the remarks of Chief Mrs. Senna Anthony, the chairman, Committee of Friends for the event, she thanked everyone for their support and prayed for God's blessings in them, after which the children of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja, Francis and Christian, ended with a vote of thanks on behalf of the family. On Tuesday, the 2nd of July 2019, the final burial ceremony to bid the late Dr. Abiodun Laja farewell was held at the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Olive Parish, Banana Island, Lagos. The program started with a praise and worship session, after which the remains of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja was carried into the sanctuary, accompanied by her family members. The burial service started with the opening prayer led by Reverend Canon Adekunle, after which the first and second Bible readings were taken by one of the sons of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja, Mr. Christian Idehe, and her daughter-in-law, Mrs. Funke Idehe.
I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away.
Shortly after that, sister of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja, Chief Mrs. Kemi Nelson, read the biography of the deceased. In the tribute session, Chief Mrs. Theresa Ikeme shared her experience of how she met the late Dr. Abiodun Laja at the age of 12 while schooling at St. Louis College, Ibadan. She described her friend as one of the purest humans on earth with a heart of gold, as she always wanted the best for people around her.
You know, Abiodun was funny. She had a funny relationship with me. For some strange reason, she felt she had to be my protector, that I wasn't streetwise enough. So if I happen to be going with somebody, Abiodun will take it upon herself to take the person out and talk to the person as to how to treat me, or he will have her to deal with. I will even say my husband got a visit from Abiodun, which he told me he won't forget. Abiodun was wonderful. Placed great premium on friendship. That's why you find that you don't befriend Abiodun really and drift away. No, you keep in touch. You keep in touch. And our friendship, by the grace of God, we are evenly yoked. No envy, no jealousy. You rejoiced in each other's success. When there was sadness, we cried together. And you see, I tell people, as I said the other night, that you see, you can't have true friendship in which there's no quarrel. If anyone tells me that he or she was Abiodun's friend and they never quarreled, you were not Abiodun's friend. Because quarrel was a hallmark of friendship with Abiodun. It spiced the friendship because you came back stronger.
Chief Anthony Ideher, husband of the deceased, in his emotional tribute said he met the late Dr. Abiodun Laja at the age of 19 in Ibadan, adding that the relationship gave him joy of life, 2 boys, Francis and Christian Ideher. He also pointed out that he noticed the tenacity and drive of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja to be successful at a very early age, adding that he is proud of her many achievements.
Abiodun was a girl that was not destined to fail. Therefore, as a sportsman too, you want to be a part of a winning team. And that was the thing that actually encouraged me. She was so daring. One thing that was very significant about Abiodun, she never hid her feelings. You know where she stood at any particular time. And that was something. Somehow as a sportsman too. Today she lies down here. But what she has achieved, with my 2 sons standing by me and making me look like a dwarf now, I would say, it's something that will be on for years to come. She's left a name, a legacy, history behind her, that even Cyprian Quincy and all the historians were to write history of Abiodun Laja. They will not be able to sell the books because there will be always constant demand. She lies down here, our spirit is guiding us all. Someday we shall meet again, never to part again. Because those whom the Lord has put together can never be separated. May our soul rest in peace.
Daughter-in-law of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja, Mrs. Funke Ideher, in her tribute, described her late mother-in-law as a very generous woman who always treated her like a daughter, adding that she laid a wonderful legacy that will last forever. Pastor Olutobi Adegbumire, in his tribute, talked about how he met the late Dr. Abiodun Laja 30 years ago, stressing that the late Dr. Abiodun Laja never got angry with him for once. Pastor Olutobi Adegbumire said The late Dr. Abiodun Laja loved God wholeheartedly and made sure no one around her lacked anything. The old girls of St. Louis College Ibadan, led by their president, Ambassador Folake Marcus Bello, also paid glowing tribute in honor of one of their own. Just before the sermon, Angela, a choir member of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Olive Parish Ministry, Banana Island in Ikoyi, Lagos, rendered a soul-lifting song in honor of the deceased. In the sermon delivered by Pastor Kunle Oshibodu, he described the late Dr. Abiodun Laja as a strong woman who fought a good battle up until the last day. He talked about the necessity of life and how important it is to achieve God's goals on earth. The pastor ended by enjoining all to use the occasion to find a place in their hearts to forgive anyone who might have wronged them in one way or the other.
Sin has been known to derail destinies. Brothers and sisters, sins have consequences. But to be clear, God wants the best for us. As long as we are in the flesh, we always fall into sin. But we must destroy the flesh in us, lest it destroys us. We must fight the cause and not the symptoms. Romans 9:15 says, for he says to Moses, I will have mercy on whomever I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whomever I will have compassion. Path to forgiveness is that we must submit to Jesus Christ. We must ask for his forgiveness, and he recognizes our infallibility and does not want us, but he does not want us to take him for granted.
The session was rounded off with prayers for the family of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja, conducted by Pastor Seun Aderibigbe, after which Pastor Shola Olawiye said the closing prayer. The reception ceremony, which followed next, was held at the Harbour Point Event Center, Victoria Island, Lagos. A host of important personalities were on ground to pay their last respect to the late Dr. Abiodun Laja, a woman who has added a lot of value to education in Nigeria. At the event, brother-in-law of the late Dr. Abiodun Laja, Chief Yemi Nelson, talked about when he first met the late Dr. Abiodun Laja and described her as a sister who knew the purpose of family.
Like I said in my tribute, Auntie Abiodun is larger than life. She's a big woman with a big heart. Very nice, very kind, very big-hearted. Auntie Abiodun can remove her. So she's somebody that has been etched into my memory as far back as 30 years when I first met her. May her soul continue to rest in peace, and I'll forever remember her. Thank you.
Immediately after that, the Sugar Band and BJ Sax took over and played a great blend of music all night long. From BSCON Communications, it's farewell to an educationist extraordinaire, the late Dr. Abiodun Laja.